Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where or when you're listening to this. Welcome to Tackling Issues, a rugby podcast where we get together and give you the latest rugby news, views, and pull together squads. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And with that being said, let's get into it.
Jay. Welcome to another week of Tackling Issues. This week's edition, we are upholding a South African 23 of overseas players. So Springbok team comprised of only players that play overseas. And also, if I'm correct in saying, guys, we are not selecting players that have recently signed for a team, haven't played in. Is that correct?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if they're still based in South Africa and they've only signed a contract to play overseas from next year, then they can't be counted because they're still South African-based players. Vice versa,
Yep.
if they're overseas and they've only signed a contract for next year, then you can select them because they're not South African-based yet. They're still overseas players.
Done. And that lovely voice you heard was Stewart. Stewart, say what's up to everybody.
How's it? How's it?
And Jay, tired
How's it,
but
guys?
here with us. So we'll go again as always, same setup, position by position. Pick out players, say a little something about them, and then we are done. So to kick us off, Jay, you want to kick us off with the number one spot this week with
Yeah,
your
I've gone
Lucid.
for Lucid. Yeah, I've gone with the chap that can play both Lucid and Tarted. To be honest, I found it quite hard to select props based overseas. I think we're quite fortunate to have the guys still based in South Africa. Obviously, Will Kalow's going overseas, so we can't select him now, but he will be overseas next year. But I've gone with the chap that's actually coming home, and he's signed for the Bulls, and that's myself on the Merva. Plays Tarted, but can also cover Lucid, so gone with him as my starting Lucid, only due to the fact that I was really battling to find some decent Lucids based overseas.
Yeah, no, I agree 100% there. I also went myself under mover. That's why I think I made it quite apparent in the beginning that if they are still overseas and they've signed for a South African team only from next year, then you can still select them because I think props were the most difficult to sort of conjure up as overseas based players. I don't know what it is. I think we have solid props at home. I know Kitshop went overseas for a little bit, and there's a couple of other Oaks that have gone over there and come back. But yeah, no, I think myself and the mover is the obvious choice on the Lucid, even though that's not his preferred position. He is still good enough to play at Lucid.
I know he
Yeah.
started his career playing quite a bit at Lucid for the Cheetahs before moving to the Bulls a few years back. Is a good prop. I think he might even get a shout in for the box if he performs well under Jake. So let's see where things go for him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, I think definitely Jake has brought him in for a reason. I know he's got Lizo and he's got Trevor who can play both. But he's obviously brought in Marcel for a reason, and I would love to see him perform if we do play Super Rugby, which I'm hoping we will this year, even for a little bit, even if it's like 5-6 weeks. I would like to see him in a competition and see how he gets on.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know who's the replacement Lucid right now. So I can't get it off the top of my head. But maybe because Lizo seems to be the more mobile out of the three. If you had to pick in Lizo, then to play that number one jersey. Um, but I went with Marcel van der Merwe as well, my number one. So a clean sweep at number one. He's doing well in Toulon, but is he playing 1 or 3 at Toulon? I didn't check. Toulon.
I think he plays more 3.
Which games? I think he plays more 3 than 1. But the fact that he can't play both, I selected 1. But this was props was the only position that I struggled with. Number 2, Stewart. Who was your hooker?
I went with the best South African hooker in South Africa at the moment, and it's Malcolm Marx. I know he's had that contract dispute with the Lions, but he has been based in Japan for this year. So I went with Malcolm. He's the best hooker in South Africa.
Shining Arc or whatever.
No, I agree with him. I've gone with Marx as well. For me, I think he's the best hooker in the world. Just needs to be given game time with the boks to start. And he'll prove everyone why he's number one. Can't argue with that. Just hope that he doesn't sign for a more permanent overseas club in France or the UK or Ireland, because I think he's bound to be snapped up by one of those big clubs soon, especially with the disputes he's having with the Lions. I don't think with COVID-19, I think, and the reduction in salaries, I don't think he's going to come back to South Africa, which is disappointing. But if he does, it'll be amazing. Even if your Stormers snap him up, I'll still be happy.
I agree. If he stays in South Africa, I'd be extremely happy.
I'll be over the moon if he comes to Storm. I know we got Bongi, Scarab. It's Malcolm Marx after all. There was a couple of hookers that are overseas. They're quite decent, obviously. There's one big one, but also is playing into that factor. But yeah, I went Malcolm Marx. So 2 for 2 in terms of position. I don't think what's Andre Pollard's now. He's the what's the highest paid player?
He is the highest paid rugby player in the world. Yeah. And Peter Step du Toit would have taken over him if he signed with Montpellier, but he didn't.
So it's just interesting to see if this, like Jay said, you don't foresee these players be coming back. Hopefully they do, South African rugby, but then again, we got a couple of good young. For the lack of a better word, hopefully it makes everything better. Number 3, my tight head. Originally I did have Marcel van der Merwe here, but I stuck with Vincent Koch from Saracens as my tight head hooker. Does really well. Contemplating just coming off the bench because he's done really well during the World Cup as that supporting role. Him and Kitchov coming off the bench. But he's equally good enough to be a starter, unless you guys can prove or argue with another fact. Anybody? Stuart? Jay?
Stuart, go ahead then.
I went Vincent as well. I know Saracens have been, relegated, and they're going to play in a lesser division. If rugby does presume, either this year or next year, Saracens have been relegated for that breach of salary cap. So it would be interesting to see if he sticks with the Saracens, because obviously the lesser competition will kind of hurt his chances. But I do think that he's probably the better tight heads that we have overseas.
Jay, sound like you had somebody different. Who did you have?
Yeah, I had someone that I've rated from junior level. Stuart knows who I'm talking about. And he's playing great rugby for Toulouse.
He's on my bench, don't worry.
That's Max van Dijk. A lot of people don't really know much about him in South Africa. That's because he left when he was quite young. Was with the Sharks. Didn't get game time there. And then went to Cheetahs for a bit. Played opposite Ox. Very good front row they had there. And then he's playing for Toulouse now. And he's playing really good rugby there. Would be great to get him back. He played alongside Kitshoff in the Junior World Cup when we won it back in 2012. And I just think to get him in the mix would be great. Obviously, both gone with Vincent, who's on my bench. He had an amazing World Cup, so can't argue with that. So Vincent will start in our team, but definitely think Max should be in the mix, and I hope Rassie considers him going forward. I think he's a good option to have.
Yeah. I did
Oh
have
no, I
Max
agree.
as
I had Max in and around. I just think off the back of Vincent's World Cup, I kind of gave him a little bit of an edge.
yeah.
Also, the fact that he's quite a prominent player for the Saracens franchise. Max van Dijk, I saw looking through all the stats of this year, especially. A lot of the times he's come off the bench, which doesn't obviously make him a bad player. But I just think from a starting perspective, Vincent starts more games than Max. He had a great World Cup, and I can't really knock him for that.
No, can't argue with that. I chose him on the bench because I just think he offers more than Max coming off. We saw it in the World Cup where he was running around. He had an awesome. Was it the final, I think, or semi-final
No,
when he came off the bench.
Yeah, it was the
him
semi,
and
yeah.
Kitsoff, yeah, both of them.
So can't argue with that. Definitely, that's definitely still have him in the mix. It'll be interesting to see what he's going to do going forward with his career with Saracens and a lot of problems. We'll see where he's going to go, or if he's going to stay and play in lower league.
I think it'll probably move similar to some of the other Saracens. I don't know how many of them will stay there. I don't foresee them staying. But let's see. Maybe a chance to come back home if everything kicks off starting. But then again, obviously the money factor plays a part as well.
So should we skip number 4?
Yeah, I was about to say number 4. I don't know how many times we spoke about this monster called Ebenezabeth, but I think we all just picked him. I didn't even write the name down in number 4. I just it's already written down in the joint team.
I reckon Eben could play 0 minutes in 2020 for the whole season, and if we had like an end of year tour in November or whatever, I'd still pick him as my starting 4.
Yeah, me too.
he's just something else. But interesting thing is who will partner. Did you guys choose to partner him? Jay, you went.
I went RG Snyman. Oh, sorry, I thought you were asking me to go.
No, yeah, I did.
I thought it was my turn.
Oh, no, you can go next.
Oh no, it is. It's no. It is Jay's turn.
Well, I went Snyman, and I'm sure you guys went Snyman too. He's playing in Japan, and he signed for Munster, so he's not coming home. And he's phenomenal as well. So I think him and Esbeth could be an awesome partner. But I think an awesome pair. I mean, but I think obviously I prefer Pete Steph starting at lock than at flank with RG off the bench. But if Rassie continues to play Pete Steph at flank, then I think Snyman should be the one that starts for us.
Yeah, I went RG, absolutely, no question. I was slightly, I mean, I'm not concerned about because him and Eben have a very similar style in terms of they're both very aggressive rugby players. 4 needs to be the aggressor, and 5 needs to be a little bit more elusive, a little bit more like a flanker. Although RG's offloading is just unbelievable.
Yeah,
for a guy that is so hard and aggressive, like Eben, like Bucky, but his skill set is that of a 7.
No, he's
because
brilliant.
he runs, he breaks tackles, he offloads. His vision is phenomenal.
I would compare him more to a centre, man. A centre that offloads in the tackle than another.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, he's fantastic. I would love to see him. He might. I know we've all picked or had a go at say Pete Steph at 5 and everything. He might still be that full that 5 jersey.
I think his impact off the bench, like I always say, or like Jay's alluded to in the past, and I've always agreed with, that the game's now about 23 players. I know the World Rugby is trying to alleviate how many subs you can have. They're trying to copy soccer, where you can only have a certain amount of subs. You can't just bring on a whole bench like we did during the World Cup and like other teams have been doing.
I don't agree with
But if that is still the case, if we can still use all the subs, RG, when the game, it's like in the 60th minute or whatever, bit of tired legs, loose minds, that kind of thing, RG would be an absolute monster in a scrappy defensive mindset of a team that's tired, because he will find the gap and it takes about 2 oaks to tackle him anyway, and you'll still be able to offload. The advantages that RG gives you off the bench are insane.
Nee, man. No, not doubt. Number 6, Steward. Would you like to go with our open side, the rest of the world's blind side, but our number 6?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly couldn't care less what people say. I don't care that he's 33 years old. He plays for Northampton. It's Heinrich Brousseau. He is still, for me, the best. I love this guy too much. He still offers everything. He's played 12 games. He scored 5 tries, and he's a flank. Okay, I don't care that he's 33. I still rate him, and I still rate him as the better 6. Okay, well, fine. Okay, here's my question then. If he hadn't retired, would you go Brousseau?
Yeah, without a doubt. I would have fit him in there without a doubt.
Okay, Jay, who did you go with?
I went with Marcel Coetzee. I know he covers 8 for Ulster. He plays 6, 7, or 8. He played all his career at the Sharks in the 6 jersey.
Yeah.
That is true.
He made the Springboks at number 6.
Okay. I had him at 7, but if Brousseau's retired, then I will move Coetzee to 6. And I will slot in another 7.
Really. There's no one else.
No, there is no one else. No, absolutely. That's why I went Brousseau. I mean, he was the obvious choice.
Because Creel's come home, so we can't choose him. He's already at home.
Yeah, no, he signed for Lions this year. So we even though he hasn't played for the Lions this year, he did sign for them this year. So okay, fine, fair enough. That's my bad. I did do my research on Brousseau. I honestly thought he was still playing for the Northampton Saints.
I wish he was.
Yeah, me too. I did. I picked Heinrich Brousseau as well. Well, I did only get Twitter about a week ago.
You guys need to sort your social media.
So I'll have to get onto the Twitter for people to tweet me that Brousseau's retired. But no, okay, cool. Brousseau's out. Marcel Coetzee at 6. I'm happy with that. I rate him. I love him.
I'm happy with that indeed.
So I'll let you guys go for your 7 then. This will be interesting.
Ooh, my 7, okay.
Or do you want me to go first and then you get some
Jay,
ideas?
go with your 7, although
No.
Okay. Stuart, go with your 7.
I'll go Jean-Luc Dupree.
Okay, interesting.
JL Dupree.
I'll go Jean-Luc. I was very upset because he was supposed to only sign like a off-season contract for sale. Him and his brother, Dan, they signed that sort of couple month contract with sale, and then they decided to renew it and not come home, which kind of hurt me a little bit because I do rate both of them. I like Jean a lot more than I like Dan, to be fair. Only because I think we have better 8 men than Dan. But Jean-Luc, I do rate him, and I think that I could definitely see him in a Springbok jersey. He's done well for sale, and
I like
did really well for Sharks last year.
I like him, but I just don't think he's right up there with the quality that we've got. But he's not bad. He's not bad. Him and his brother are playing very good rugby, but we've got so much talent, and I've gone with Ruan Ackerman at 7. I already rate that chap. I think he would have been a Springbok if he didn't leave and follow his dad to Gloucester. I think it's a pity he doesn't come home. He's just renewed his contract. And he'll probably end up playing for England, which is a shame. But yeah, Ruan is my 7.
So
I did have stats for both of them.
So I didn't. So I originally had. So I will put Juan Ackerman as my 7 because he was on my bench originally, and I do like Jean-Luc Dupree. To be fair, I like both the Dupree brothers. I know South Africa has better 8s, but then he's quite a player himself as well. But Juan Ackerman would be starting in a 7 jersey.
Good man.
Cool. I get that. I mean, he was on my bench, so we will accept Ruan.
Okay.
I rated him. He's
okay. You had him on the bench. Good man.
Yeah, and I've got it, and I've got his stats here for this year.
So you brought Jean-Luc right in from nowhere into your starting lineup now.
So I had Jean-Luc / Ruan Ackerman. Because if you look at their stats, they are almost identical.
Very similar, yeah.
For this year, they are almost identical. There's, I think, Jean-Luc has a slightly better tackle percentage than Ruan Ackerman by like 2% or whatever, and he beats a bit more defenders. But the thing about Jean-Luc though that really stood out for me, he doesn't concede penalties. He conceded 1 penalty in 8 games. Ruan Ackerman conceded 5 in 8.
Yeah.
All other stats, they both scored a try. They both carry about the same amount, 82 to 79 meters, 195 to 186. And Jean-Luc's tackle percentage is just a little bit better. He's missed 5 tackles. Ruan Ackerman,
I would
12 tackles.
definitely have them in the mix, both of them. Definitely going forward. They're still young, man. So.
Well, for me, I don't know. It was difficult between the two, but like I said, I had Ackerman on my bench, so I think it would be unfair to just swing in a Jean-Luc. But yeah, Ruan Ackerman as the 7.
Cool.
Number 8,
Cool.
Jay.
Then without a doubt.
Dwayne.
Then Dwayne, without a doubt. There's not much more I can say. I don't
Me
care.
too.
I don't care if he's 37. He'll still be there. he's just great.
If he's still playing the rugby that he's playing, then yeah, absolutely.
Because he's only
look at 8.
He's only 34 now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I reckon Dwayne will give you another 2-3 more years.
I think
Playing
he'll
overseas
retire
or something.
I
don't think so.
I reckon
he's
he's waiting for Lions. He's waiting for Lions after Lions. I think he'll retire from South African rugby. But
Yeah,
I still
then
think he'll play provincial. And if he does want to come home, he's got his paycheck overseas, then any Super Rugby team, if we are still in the Super Rugby, the Aussies want to kick us out, apparently. Then I think he will find a home for sure. He will definitely find a home.
Oh, well, he'll probably go join France Stain at the Cheetahs and ruin Pino.
Yeah, look, I mean, he started at the Cheetahs. You know, when he started that mullet, that blonde mullet-looking nonsense.
We came to Cape Town and we showed him how haircuts are.
If he comes to Cape Town, I wouldn't have him starting because I do want to give Augustus more game time. But having him in the mix would be solid.
Cool. So we all agree on
Dwayne Vermeulen.
Dwayne,
yeah, there was.
I think 9 we can skip.
Yep.
Yeah, world's best 9 in my opinion.
World's best 9 in my opinion.
World's best 9 takes the spot kicks for Sale Sharks too, which I found out. Crazy.
So should we just tell all the New Zealand fans who we're talking about?
That is
Francois Faf de Klerk.
Faf de Klerk.
I don't think anybody in any rugby country, any true rugby fan all over the world can dispute that he's the best 9 in the.
I don't know. I got a feeling like you'll get a couple of
Kiwis,
all black fans.
I honestly think Aaron Smith's a 50-50 in New Zealand. I think there's 50% of New Zealand that love him and 50% that think he's slightly overrated.
And that Perinara is the one.
And that Perinara is a better one, yeah. I mean, look, when we all do our Super Rugby fantasy every single year, the first choice when Faf left the Lions was TJ.
Perinara.
All of us want TJ. None of us were like super keen on Aaron Smith. He's like third choice.
Actually, I had Rassie in here, but no, I agree. Like TJ is the one they jump to, but Faf is the best in the world. Number 10.
Also, we can skip this.
Yeah. We spoke about him a couple of weeks now, but
we spoke about him earlier.
Yeah, the most expensive, the highest paid player in world rugby today, Andre Pollard.
In the world, third best player in the world.
And I think Jay alluded to a couple of weeks ago. It's like he's underrated, or not underrated. He gets about his business quietly. He does his job. But he's a good leader on the field. Like he's not.
Brilliant.
Yeah, he doesn't take the limelight or something. Controls the game.
When he started his career, similar to how I felt about Skolkberger, I thought this guy's just a bit average, your average Joe. But he's proved me wrong, man. He was part of that 2012 Under-20 World Cup with Kitshoff and Pete Steff. The three of them are the only ones that have won both World Cups, a junior and a senior World Cup. So, and he was what? He was first year out of school, or he was still in school, I think, when he was brought in to play in that Under-20 World Cup. So he's definitely got class. I already rated. I'll mention his name anyway. I rated Goosen at that stage. But he's really come through and proven that he is our top fly-off.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I think if we look at schoolboy rugby, like the powerhouses of schoolboy rugby, and then we move them on to sort of a like Under-20 World Cup or anything South African based. There's been a lot that we've like, this guy's insane, he's amazing, he's great, and then they just don't make it.
Exactly.
I'm not saying Goosen's one of them. Goosen chose to go overseas like really early in his career.
Yeah, well, he won the was it European Player of the Year? Or was it
class player. Has had a couple of injuries that have sort of blighted him a little bit, but not too much. But he just hasn't decided to come home, and I don't think any South African coaches looked at him.
Yeah, funny though, Goosen got injured in that. He was named in the squad for that Under-20 World Cup in 2012, and then he got injured, and they brought Pollard straight into the squad and played him ahead of Robert Dupree. And
we all know what we think of Rob Dupree.
and yeah, he's proved himself. So yeah, definitely Pollard.
Yep. Number 12, Stuart.
Oh, sure. Are you even asking me this? Obviously, it's Rowan Janssen van Rensburg.
Rowan Janssen van Rensburg. JVR.
I rate this guy.
I'll put him at 12.
I think maybe too much.
Happy.
I honestly think I rate him too much.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know if that's a thing. I don't know if I'm being biased. I don't know if there's going to be any comments and they're going to tell me that I've seen him in a small sample and I've only like held on to that. But I think he's phenomenal. I think he's the ultimate 12. He's just a big, strong, straight, ball carrying center, upright, smashes three players, and he's good defensively. I think he's the best 12 we have.
I would play him at 12 or 13. I've chosen him at 12 because I knew you would choose him at 12. And I understand where you're coming from when you say you want him to get as much ball as possible. And breaking the line, he could set up our outside backs. So I've chosen him at 12, definitely. I'm also... I can't get enough of the guy. He's awesome, man. He's unbelievable. He's our version of Manu Tuolagi and
Laumapi.
And Laumapi and even Karevi. He's a mixture of all of them. He is our version of these boys, and we need to get him in there, man. We really do. We're missing
And
something.
I think defensively, he's better than all three of them. I know Karevi makes a lot of tackles, but he also misses a lot of tackles. Tuilagi, I don't think is good defensively, in my opinion. He's a big boy, but he's not good. He's not good enough defensively.
Yeah.
Laumapi also, like, he's an out-and-out 12. So I don't really need to count on him to make, 15, 16 tackles again. But Ryan Jansen van Rensburg for sure.
Yep, Ryan Jansen van Rensburg. I did leave him out of the South African squad we did a couple of weeks ago, but I agree with you guys. He does be in the mix. I realize, and I apologize for my discretions.
Just don't do that again.
Don't do that again. Do not
Sorry,
do
Rowan.
that again.
Number 13, I went with the person that I picked ahead of Rowan Jansen van Rensburg. That team that we did was Jan Serventijn. Francois Venter was really close. I really wanted to put him in. But it is Jan Serventijn after all. He's playing well can play either position 12. He's playing well at Montpellier. So I went with Jan Serventijn. Who did you guys go with? Stuart, who did you go with?
Yeah, Jan Serventijn. I mean, it's my 12 and 13 combination for the Springboks. How can I leave them out of my overseas team if they're my 12-13 combination for my South African team? I also rate Jan Serventijn massively. Can play at 12, plays at 13. Like I think Jay and I had a discussion a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about the Springbok team. I'd have Ryan at 12 when we have the ball, and I'd have Jan at 12 when we don't have the ball. I think both offer enough on both sides of an inside and outside perspective. And also, he's such a good ball carrier too. He finds gaps. He's a phenomenal center, and I'd love to see him come back to South Africa. Well, I'd love to see him in a mix in the South African squad. And if that kind of persuades him to come home, then all the better for it, because I do think he's a phenomenal rugby player.
No, I've chosen him at 13, and I agree with you. I think you have something good there. With him at 13, he can run that backline, the defense for the backline like Jacques Fourie did. I think if there's anyone that comes close to Jacques Fourie when it comes to running the backline's defense, it's Jan Serventijn. He's hardly missed any tackles, and he's phenomenal. Yeah, World Player of the Year in that Junior World Cup, and we need to get these guys in the mix, man. We're very fortunate with the centers we got at the moment, but we have to get Jan back, man. Don't know how, but he needs to get back in there.
Without being biased, both of you, if JVR and Serventijn come back, which team would you think they'll be best suited to, considering the players that we currently have in South Africa?
I think Sharks, definitely.
Both of them.
Yeah, man. They play together.
That's biased. Morning just said without being biased. Okay, if I'm looking at 12s now in the country,
I think they need to play for the Bulls.
I think it could be any franchise in South Africa at the moment at 12. That's Super Rugby franchise, because Stormers don't have a 12 anymore. When we dropped, not dropped, but let Damien go.
I think you need a
Jamie
12
Roberts
and a 13.
We need a 12 and a 13. Although I do like Daniel du Plessis. I just want him to stop being injured. That's pretty much it. If he can stop being injured, then I'm happy with the 13 choice there, because I do rate him. I like him a lot.
I don't think there's space
at 12 for sure.
Yeah, there's definitely there's no space at the Sharks, in my opinion, for any of them.
There's no space for Jan, but there's space for Ryan, because didn't Andre Esthuizen sign overseas for next year?
Yeah,
but we've still got Sharks still got Maurice Lowe there, who will probably come through, and then Jeremy Ward's been playing 12 and 13, and with Am captain, I think Ward might start at 12.
I think Ward's a better 13 though.
Yeah, I agree too. But if he's not going to
Yeah.
get game time there and he can
Yeah.
play both,
Yeah,
Jean de
because
Villiers,
Lucanio Ant's going to be your 13 for sure.
Jean de Villiers played a lot at 13, and I think
did.
Ward reminds me a lot of a young Jean de Villiers. So let's see how he goes.
Yeah. And Bulls, what have they got? They got Berger Ordendahl at 12.
I think he's gone now. I
and
think he's left or he's leaving.
Isn't he the captain? Isn't he the Bulls captain?
He's the Bulls captain. Unless Jake's got rid of him also.
Yeah. He's not old enough.
Yeah, no. Jake. I don't know what Jake likes doing.
I trust
He
Jake.
must have
I've
some
always
method to his
trusted him.
madness because
He's got something. He's got some.
I mean, how can
planned.
he get rid of Monty Libok?
Yeah, we've got him. He's come to Sharks. Yeah.
I know, but I mean, I don't understand why he would go to Sharks because you've got Bosch and Fussy that have nailed that 10 and 50. Absolutely nailed that 10 and 50.
Where would he go?
He's still young. What's he, 21, 22 years old now, Libok? So he could learn a thing or two with Bosch.
Where would he go, though?
Can be injured.
I would have
taken him, and I would
Stormers
because we've lost Blades.
No,
He's
you're
gone
gonna
overseas.
Damien
so
Jean-Luc
into that 15.
Jean-Luc Duplessis.
No, Jean-Luc's gone.
Yeah, that's
He
what I
should've-
said.
he
No, but
should've stayed
Damien's
at
got
Bulls.
10 and Warwick at 15.
I mean,
Yeah.
he definitely should stay at the Bulls. I think 100% he should be the starter at the Bulls. Mornay
Exactly.
is done. Let's be honest.
They got Mornay Stein.
He's,
What you talking
no,
about?
but he's done. he needs to start for the Bulls, Monty Libok. But if they've chosen to let him go, I would definitely have taken it because I do think Williams is not going to get any shot in a Springbok jersey at 10. He needs to play 15. He needs to be an outside back because that's his only opportunity of putting on a Springbok jersey is being on the bench in that 23 role.
Yeah.
And we need a out and out 10 as our starting 10. And I think Libok would have been a great shot. I don't know who's coming through the ranks in Stormers at the moment, but I don't think the answer is Willemse. I think Willemse should stay.
Or what? Throw Galant to 14 or. But anyway, that's
lunch is signed for us. Oh, yeah.
that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah, that's another conversation.
Cool.
Jay, can you start us off with the wings?
So I've gone
Number
with
11.
With my left wing. I've gone with the chap that I really rate, and he's playing phenomenal rugby, and just wish he would get a look in at the Springboks. And that's Johan van der Merwe. I think that's how you say his name.
Yeah,
Johan, yeah, he is Aka van der Merwe's younger brother, and he's like a mini Jonah Loma, man. He's phenomenal. He is.
He's
extremely tall. He's a beast, and he was part of the under-20 teams. Not sure which one. I think he played in 2013 or 2014. He was with Pollard and all of the boys, Jesse Creel. He needs to definitely get a look in, man, because the rugby that guy's playing, he's going to be snapped up by Scotland soon.
Scotland, isn't it?
Yeah, he's playing for Edinburgh.
Yeah.
He was actually.
We're probably going to lose Ron Ackerman to England.
He was. Yeah, I think we'll lose Ron Ackerman, and I think we'll lose Van der Merwe to Edinburgh. Or he's playing Edinburgh to Scotland. Yeah, he was with Montpellier, and he wasn't getting game time. He's moved from there to join these guys, and he's had 2 or 3 seasons, and he's been phenomenal, man.
You look at his stats. He scores like
absolute beast.
Yeah, he scores a try like every other game.
Have you watched his YouTube?
He scored 20 tries in 41 games for Edinburgh.
Yeah. Watch his tries as well on YouTube. There's a video on all his tries.
He's a monster. I mean, he's 106 kilos. He's 6'4", and he's a wing. So that obviously makes him quick.
And when you watch the videos of
him, he's 24 years old.
Yeah, definitely in the mix, man.
Stuart, I take it you went with Johan?
I don't know how. Yeah, I did. I wanted to try and go back to see how he fared at Montpellier because he was in France before he went to Edinburgh.
He was very young then, and he wasn't getting game time.
I think he played like less than 10 games in Montpellier, or maybe a little bit more.
He was there.
No, he played 4 games for Montpellier.
Was that
4
it?
games,
There you
3
go.
tries. Yeah.
And even 4 games, 3
tries.
games. That's not a bad ratio.
He might have had, he might have had a bad injury. I'm not too sure, but all I know is the last season or 2, maybe even 3, has been phenomenal and I think he's played for two Scottish clubs, or is it just Edinburgh?
Just Edinburgh.
I think it's just Edinburgh. Yeah, Montpellier straight to Edinburgh.
Yeah, he was at Bulls because he's from he's a George boy, so that makes him Southwestern District. So he would have played Southwestern District Eagles for Currie Cup or whatever amateur Currie Cup U team. He played for the Bulls, then he went overseas to Montpellier, and then he went to Edinburgh. But he's definitely found a home in Edinburgh because he's been there for 3 years or so. I think 2 years, 3 years. But 20 tries, 41 games, that's not bad at all.
I take
solid.
it.
I've rated him big time. He's so big. He is so big.
Yeah, I was quite impressed by the YouTube videos. I think I watched the video you were talking about, Jay.
No, he's awesome. Did you also have him?
Yeah, I had Johan van der Merwe. You actually mentioned it a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember what we were talking about, and that's why the name jumped to. When I was doing the research, I didn't find it.
Yeah, Duan or Du. I don't know how to say his name.
Duan.
I think it's Duan.
Duhan.
Yeah, Duan. Number 14 skips like over.
I think we can. I'm
like
not sure. Can we skip
there's
that?
no. I'm skipping it. I don't know about you, but I picked Cheslin Colby.
Oh, he's the world's best wing.
Cheslin Colby.
Absolutely.
He is at the moment on form. He's the world's best wing, Mark.
Yeah, picking
although,
finding players.
He still plays 15 quite a bit for Toulouse.
Yeah, he's played 10 for them as well.
Yeah, he's played 10 for them.
Good.
Sometimes kicks for them. Like the guy's just an animal.
Yeah,
so good.
Didn't expect that he kicked. I didn't realize he does kicks, and he kicked a monster kick for them from the touchline. He's gifted.
No, he's very gifted. Very gifted.
Can cover scrummy too. Fly half.
Yeah. I really, really, really wish that my wife and his wife were friends because they were at the same school together. Piners High, wow. My wife and Cheslin Colby's wife. And they were in the same grade, the same year. So, if they were chums, then, I'd be Brian with Cheslin Colby right now.
You were kind of set. Need to go out. Just need to tell her afterwards.
2 meters away.
Why did you have to be a loser?
Yeah, no, look, because it'd be incredible to just know that oak, because he seems like a really nice oak as well. I've seen a lot of interviews with him. His brother, I think, has a little YouTube thing going on where I think he does a lot of chats with Cheslin. I saw him in malls, doing chats with him in malls and speaking to fans and stuff like that. Really nice guy and best wing, hands down, in world rugby.
Don't know
Number
what you're
15, Stuart, finish off the starting 15.
15 for me was tough because there's some really rubbish 15s and there's only a handful of good ones. And I still rate this dude, and I still think that he can start, and I think it's Bronstein. Jay, if we couldn't choose Bronstein, who did you go with?
Well, I will choose Bronstein if you guys are going to consider him, without a doubt. But I went with Yakutata. I rate that chap, and he covers centre or fullback, and I still think he could offer a lot if he came back. I'd definitely consider him with injuries and stuff in the Springbok setup still. Just rates him so much.
I would consider him in the Springbok setup for sure. Would he be an outside back for me? I'm not sure. I think
I prefer Yaku.
I think he's
13.
I just think we've got too many centres, so too many good centres for him to be a 13. And he's got a massive
good outside backs.
He's got a hell of a boot.
Would you put him ahead of Fussy?
No, I wouldn't put him ahead of Fussy.
Would you put him ahead of Galant?
No, but I'd have him in the mix in case there's injuries. I'd have him at fullback ahead of Kevin Bosch, because I think Kevin Bosch's defense would be
it's shocking.
vulnerable.
His defense is very vulnerable. Yeah.
I also don't know about Damien Willemse as a 15 yet, but I'd definitely have Yaku. A couple injuries, and you like All Blacks had with a few years back in the World Cup, and they ended up Stephen Donald at 10. I wouldn't want that.
True.
I wouldn't want that. So definitely, if something like that happened, definitely Yaku Tatu would be someone I'd consider.
Well, I did go for on Stain.
Well, I will change mine then, because I wasn't sure if he was available, because I know he's made it clear that he's with the Free State now.
Front Stain. Yeah, no, he's been talking a lot on the social media and everything. Undoubtedly, Frans Stain, best overseas player.
If he wasn't available, who would you play, Monet?
Probably Jan Goosen at 15.
Okay. Yeah, I considered him.
Yeah.
But I went Tata.
But Yaku Tauta, I only looked at him. You got a fair point. He does play fullback as well. And the only position I kind of looked at him was at center, but obviously because of the centers we have,
he made Springboks from his form
as a fullback. Yeah. But no.
It was your silly Stormers coaches that converted him to 13. And then he's one of those lot that always come down there and never fulfill their potential. Another Joe van Niekerk. There's so many of them, man. They come to Stormers and that's the end of it.
Jay, we'll talk about this afterwards because I have a couple of words for you. Anyway, Jay just ran through your bench, 16 to 23. 16 to 23. Stuart, you'll go next. I'll go third, and then we'll revert to a bench and then go over 23.
Okay, so
Jay, what's yours?
So my hooker was very, very difficult, and I can't believe I'm leaving him out, but I have left Bismarck du Plessis out of my team, and only because of his age.
Yeah, no, me too.
And also because, like Stuart said earlier, I think rugby is a 23-man game, and you need guys to come off the bench that are gonna produce something in 20 to 30 minutes. And I've gone with Aka van der Merwe from Cell Sharks as my hooker. I definitely have him in the Springbok mix still. Again, we said props was very difficult. So I've got Vincent Koch as my tight head, which I'm happy to swap around. It was very close between Max and him. So I will keep him on the bench, even though you guys have him at starting, which is fine. And then I've got Kuni Oosthuizen as my 17, covering Lucid, and he can also cover both, actually, if need be. And then lock, I've gone with Jason Jenkins, playing in Japan. I don't know where he's going. If he's coming back to Bulls, I heard Jake is trying to get him back to Bulls. But I really rate Jason Jenkins as well. Can cover 4 or 5. Then 20 was a tough one, but it's someone that I've always liked, and that's Arno Botha. He covers all 3 positions as well. And I just think it'll be a great impact off the bench. There was another chap, but I won't mention him because you guys might have him. But I'll give him a honourable mention just now. But scrum off has to be Kobus Reinach. We said there's a couple great youngsters coming through in South Africa, but overseas, I think between him and Francois Hougaard, I think Francois Hougaard has retired from Springbok rugby. So I think Kobus' form has been great, especially in the World Cup. So Kobus at 9. 22. I've gone with Francois Fencer, another one that Stuart also rates. I think he covers 12 and 13 brilliantly. And yeah, definitely still having the mix like Yakutata, definitely having the mix of major injuries. And then, yeah, Morne mentioned him earlier, I've gone with Johan Goosen at 23, covering fullback and fly half. And he can possibly put him on the wing with his speed as well if need be. So that's my 23.
Cool. Stuart, yours?
Mine was Aka.
Yep.
I had Bismarck bracketed, but I do think age is a factor there. He hasn't played for South Africa since 2015. Aka is an up and comer. He's very, very good. And yeah, like we alluded to 2 weeks ago, he's definitely within the South African mix. 17, I went Kuni as well. 18, I went Max van Dijk. I had Vincent starting. I had Max on the bench. 19, I actually went with Franco Mostert. I just think defensively, he's so good. He makes insane amount of tackle in games. He had a good World Cup. I know we didn't rate him so highly when he was at the Lions. I was a bit like 50-50 with him. And then I just think he had a very good World Cup. He didn't disappoint. He didn't do anything stupid. Proper solid oak, and I had him at my 19. 20. So when I changed from Brousseau and I put Kutsi at 6 and I put Jean-Luc at 7, then I got Ruan Ackerman on the bench. Who can cover 7 and 8. 21, I went Quibus. Like Jay said, he didn't do anything wrong. He does deserve to be within the South African mix, but I do think we have better scrum offs at home. Obviously, Faf number 1, and then we've got better ones at home. And I don't think there's any other scrum offs that I would even consider overseas. And then 22, Francois Fenter. Absolutely, I rate this guy so much. Also, like Jay said, 12 and 13. Solid boy. Really good, really, really good player. And 23, I didn't go Corson. I actually went Jesse Krill.
Okay.
Not a bad shot. Yeah.
Jesse can cover 50. Jesse can cover 13. He can potentially cover a win
think
position.
of him.
And then I've got, in case if Pollard does get injured, I had Franz Stain. Franz Stain is slotting into that 10 role if Pollard had to come off. And then I've got Jesse that can cover the 15. I've got Chasen that can cover the 15. Jesse can also cover 13.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I win Jesse Krill as my 23.
Cool. So, I did put Bismarck / I bracketed Akka, but I did put Bismarck. But Akka van der Merwe would then make our 16. Cuneo stays in as our 17s. All three of us got that. I picked. Then Max van Dijk. Jay, you picked him as a starter. Myself and Stuart both.
Did you have Max van Dijk on your bench?
Yeah, at 18. Yeah. 19, I also went Franco Mostert, Gloucester. Stuart alluded to how he was in the World Cup, his defense and bit of versatility. And then 20, I then went Jean-Luc Dupree, because we had to swap over a couple of players. 21, Kobus Reinacher. My 22 is Johan Goosen, and my 23 is Jesse Kriel. So, if we just go over it, definitely Akka number 16, Kuri number 17, Max van Dijk number 8. Franco Mostert would then be our. Is that correct? Jay, you had Jason Jenkins.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I had Jenkins up. He's a good player. I just don't really rate him. Hard for me to select him.
Who would you guys? Well, Jean-Luc Dupree. Stuart, you picked him as your starting 7. I picked him on the bench. Jay, you went Arno Botha. Who would you take out of the 3?
Who, me? Well, I'll take Arno Botha, but you guys have selected them twice, so obviously Jean needs to be on the bench. I don't not like him. I think he's a good player. Arno's playing great rugby for Munster, and glad he's coming back to Bulls. I think he'll get a look in at Springboks under Rassie, and Jacques Ninoba. But
I hope he does.
yeah, I've always rated him, and
I mean, I spoke a little bit about him last week, towards the end about Arnold Water. I do rate it. I do. I don't know. I've got a bit of a soft spot for Jean-Luc.
I think Arno coming. They're all very similar. They're all very close on potential, and I think being home is what's going to get guys in there ahead of overseas players now.
Yeah, I agree. I think you've got to be absolutely outstanding. Like you've got to be an Eben, a Puff, Andre, Cheslin for you to be like a out and out. Okay, even though you're overseas, we've also
exactly.
So
I think if he's trying to get another cap, then he's making the right choice to come and play under Jake.
Yeah,
and he might
100%.
play, and he'll play a little bit of his rugby with Dwayne for the next year, and hopefully Dwayne can give him some good tips, and we'll see where that leads.
Indeed. Kobus Reina gaat definitely 21. 22, you both win France or Fenta. But also Jared, you had Jan Goosen and I had Jan Goosen. And then I had Jesse Creel and Stuart had Jesse Creel. So it's a toss-up. I don't mind Fenta and Goosen. That's my preference. I know I picked Jesse Creel.
If you guys allowed me to change my team, I would, because I completely forgot. Can't believe I forgot about him. But I would actually have had Jesse Creel starting at 15 if I heard that he was overseas. Ahead of Tata. So I definitely think Jesse needs to be in our 23.
So let's say for all intents and purposes, we chuck Franstein out because we're actually not sure about his contractual obligation. So as far as I'm concerned, he's a null and void player. He's not playing rugby. He's not considered high.
Well, that's up to you. Because if we are going to consider him, then I'd have him starting without a doubt.
It's difficult because he can only start for the Cheetahs on the 1st of July, but he's not technically tied to Montpellier. His contract is finished. Okay, so Franstein's out. I agree. I think from the standpoint of the rules from the beginning, only overseas based players, Franstein would have to be excluded. I'd go Jason Creel as my 15. Okay, and so I'd have course in his 23 then.
Cool. Due to a technicality, Jesse Creel will take in our Franstein because of the contract situation.
And
being quite professional about it. And then 22 and 3 then.
Just a quick one before you finish. If Dwayne wasn't available to be considered because he's coming home now, and so is Arno Botha.
Yeah.
Who would your loose forward trio and on the bench be? Obviously, we've all said Marcel.
Mine would be Coetzee, Jean-Luc, and Rowan Ackerman. 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, mine too. And then I would just like to know who your guys' bench player would be. I want to see if you have someone that I had as an honourable mention, who I think has been phenomenal since he's moved to UK.
Well, we can get to that.
I'd probably go Carr. He's on Carr.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I think he's been phenomenal. He's so hard for me not to have him in there. But he's what a play off the bench, and I think South Africa should still look at him too. If we have any injuries, classy player, man.
Yeah, no, I've rated Carr from school rugby level. I was watching him when he was playing first-team rugby for Bishop. When I was at home, I to go to Bishop so I could go watch rugby, and I know Carr absolutely class rugby player. Always been there and thereabout for me. I think every year when we were playing rugby fantasy and he was at the Stormers, we were kind of fighting over him because he's just such a good player.
Cool. So before we go on with any special mentions, well, I think we mentioned all of mine, but so match day 23 of overseas South African players. Number 1, Marcel van der Merwe. Number 2, Malcolm Marx. Number 3, Vincent Koch. Number 4, Eben Etzebeth. Number 5, RG Sneeman. Number 6, Marcel Coetzee. Number 7, Ron Ackerman. Number 8, Dwayne Vermeulen. Number 9, Faf de Klerk. Number 10, Andre Pollard. Number 11, Johan van der Merwe. 12, Rowan Jansen van Rensburg. 13, Jan Serpentine. 14, Cheslin Colby. And 15, Jesse Creel. And then our bench, obviously Jesse Creel makes it due to the anomaly. The bench, 16, Akker van der Merwe. 17, Connie Oosthuizen. 18, Max van Dijk. 19, Franco Mosta. 20, Jean-Luc Dupree. 21, Kobus Reinacher. 2, Francois Venter. 23, Johan Goosen. Sound about right to you guys?
Yeah. Very good
Yeah.
team. I think one more honorable mention would be Jacques Duplessis.
Yeah, I'd say Jacques Duplessis, definitely honorable mention.
Did you say Yanni?
No, I'd say Jacques Duplessis, definitely an honorable mention. I'd say Dan Dupree.
Yeah.
Also having a good season at Sale, solid at the Sharks. Sad to see him go. He had a couple of caps in the Springbok jersey, I believe. Didn't disappoint. I say Ruan Drea.
Yeah. Francois Hofard.
Yeah,
retired, but
Francois Hofard, if he hadn't retired, he could have been up there for my left wing actually.
Yeah. He's playing good rugby.
He's playing great rugby, and I know a lot of people see him as a 9, but he's been playing on that wing for quite a while now, overseas. So I wouldn't disregard him as my left wing if he hadn't retired. I knew he had retired. I didn't know about Rousseau.
Couple of players also that's not doing too bad. Kocha Smith.
In Japan. He might come to
Japan.
the Sharks, I heard.
Yeah, he might. Yeah, I was just about to say, but that's the thing is, where does he play in that loose trio? I was going to ask you that, Jay.
No,
you don't want him.
I don't want him. Yeah, I think he should stick to 7s.
Yeah, I agree. I think
that's just my opinion, without being horrible.
Yeah, no, look, he's a very good player, but he's like a Keegan Daniel.
Yeah, exactly.
Solid. He's going to give you 80 minutes of hard running rugby, decent defensively, but I just don't think he can make that step up to Springbok level.
Decent defensively. All I remember is, who was it? Was it Sevu Reece that ran over him?
Oh no, that absolutely threw him to the floor. Threw him to the floor.
I don't know if it was Sevu Reece or Karevi.
Yeah, no, it was.
It was Sevu Reece.
That did that to him, yeah.
Like bounced him, and he stumbled. Looked like he was crawling backwards.
It happened.
I wanted to say it.
Look, it's happened to Marcel Coetzee. I can't remember who it was.
It's
Marcel Coetzee tried to jump on the back of somebody and just absolutely threw him to the floor.
Don't know who. Where?
It was Super Rugby. It was.
Because he was in the Sharks jersey. He was Coetzee in the Sharks jersey. Sure.
It was Dean Mumm from Waratahs.
Yes. Yeah, the lock.
The lock / loose forward, yeah. But he's just caught. That's the problem. The caught off balance and smashed. The thing is, Marcel did the same to the Irish boy. What's his name? Jamie Heaslip. Marcel did that in the Springbok jersey to him. Eben's done it to Bismarck in Super Rugby, and Connie he's done it to Connie Oosthuizen as well as Super Rugby. Eben's done it to everyone almost.
Yeah, Connie's not a small boy. But I think the best one, because it wasn't like the momentum that, because Coetzee tried to jump on the back of Dean Mumm, and he just stuck a hand out. So there was a lot of momentum with him going through the air that made him look like he got handed off harder. But the best one was when Aaron Smith was actually on Dwayne Vermeulen. And Dwayne Vermeulen just picked him up one hand and put him to the floor.
I think I actually have that.
Air, he was on Dwayne, and Dwayne just like, no thanks, boyki. I don't need a backpack. And
I think I have it somewhere. I'm gonna play it. I think I might have used it as a gift in one of the videos.
No,
did you guys see the videos of Brousseau's highlight clip where he runs on the touchline on the side. He runs just on the side and hands off. It's like 3 or 4 guys he gets past. I'll find that video where he was awesome, man.
Seen one of Tanela Tupou just absolutely destroying like 2 or 3 players at a time.
Well, there you have it. If you're enjoying the content we're putting out, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and don't forget to leave a like. See you guys next week.